Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this broadcast, either live or on the replay here on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. I am so honored that you're taking time out of your valuable day to come into this special event, this special topic that we're going to be talking about today. I'm excited that we're going to be talking about reducing the overwhelm and noise in your life. So we are already getting people live into the broadcast. If you do not know me, or if this is the first time that you're maybe joining this broadcast, again, I'm Cynthia Bazin. I am part of Smart Chick, Laser Focus Mentoring, and Keynote Speaking. My whole thing with my business is helping you reduce the noise and get you the best success and happiness. So before I say hello to our amazing community that has already joined in, I have got to say hello and have our guest come in and join us. So today, everybody, I've got a special guest joining me for this special event, my great friend, Jeff Karlin. So why don't we say hello to Jeff? Woot, woot. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how are you, Cynthia?
Oh, I'm great. I am so thrilled to have you here today, Jeff. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, it's an absolute joy and a privilege. I feel honored to be here. I feel like I'm famous. What can I tell you? A little kid from Malala.
You are famous. Jeff Karlin. Oh, I am so happy to be here with you. And so everybody, before I say hello to you, for those of you that are coming in live, as you know, I will put your comments up on the screen because everybody's going, woohoo, Jeff. Everybody's, why did I invite Jeff into this broadcast? A lot of people are going, Jeff Karlin is going to be on Be Live with you, Cynthia? Is that Jeff Karlin and I have become great friends, is that we met on Periscope, right, Jeff?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember the first time that I saw you, I did like the cardinal sin because it was a thankful, what was your win of the day thing. And I said, well, I don't really have one. And then I saw a couple comments going, what? What did he say? I'm like, what did I say? What did I say?
Oh, anyway, so we have become great friends, and you know what? We talk a lot about different subjects through Marco Polo, which is a video app. And so I have found over this last at least year or so that we've been connected, Jeff, that, you have a lot to offer. There's a lot of things that, what I learned from you from our conversations on video and Marco Polo. And I said, this is absolutely the best thing is for us, number one, to catch up, right? We need to catch up. Right. And for us to talk about a subject that we're really passionate about. So before we get started on the topic, let's say hello to some of our peeps. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see all of these people. I'm going to show some comments up on the screen, but don't worry about it if you can't see it. So I'm just going to say Lisa Beckdahl is here saying woohoo. Can you see that comment, Jeff?
I can't see the comments.
All right. All right, so Lisa Beckdahl is saying woohoo. We've got Alice on stage here, Navy wife. You can say hello as I am calling out their names.
Allison, awesome.
Got Susan White here.
Hey, Susan. Good.
We've got Deborah Ann here.
Right on, Deb. Yeah, we talk a lot.
Oh, this is awesome. We've got Robert Sells here.
Right on, Robert. Right on,
Love
brother.
it, love it, love it. And let's see who else we have here. We have Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Oh.
Thank you, Kim.
Well, my favorite fan.
All right, we're just going to leave Kim's information up here. Thanks so much, Kim. I appreciate your support. I love it. Everybody is giving you a call out. Kim's got, hey, Jeff. All right, I love it. I love it. I love it. Who else is here? There's lots of comments. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Beth Hoover. Hoover.
Beth, right on. Yeah, she's my slave driver.
And the most important person, and the comment that is up on the screen right now, Jeff, is Wife-A-Roni is here. So
right on.
That's all that matters. All right. And yes, everybody is saying hello to Kim and everything. So again, everybody, thank you so much for taking time out of your valuable day. I know that it's the middle of the work day. I know you've got things to do, and, we will get through this. But, we want to make sure that we're acknowledging our amazing social media family that is here today. So, Jeff, why did this topic resonate with you about reducing the overwhelm and noise? What just shot out at you when we started talking about doing this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And honestly, Cynthia, I think it's because I've lived it. I've lived the overwhelm life for a lot of years. And I think, we usually do it to ourselves, the overwhelming thing. It's usually brought on by us doing it to ourselves, really, truly, if you think about it. It's not usually other people. It's trying to live up to expectations. That's one of the things that overwhelmed me a lot, because in my job I had a lot of expectations, and probably I put more expectations on myself than probably anyone else did. I was probably the hardest on myself as far as expectations, I would say. So that caused a lot of overwhelm, because it's hard to keep that pace up. It's tough.
So I ask a question to all of you that are here live and watching this on the replay. Put some comments below. Is that, have you experienced a lot of overwhelm and noise in your life? And do you experience a lot of overwhelm right now? So I want your comments in the chat stream below. Is that Jeff, after this live broadcast, will go on the replay and he'll see all of your comments and maybe can interact with you after the broadcast. But you know what? We all experience it, Jeff. You know what I mean? Is that it's not one of these things that, anybody should feel bad for, because there is so much noise, and with the whole social media thing, obviously that just quadruples it, right? So we're going to go through a couple different things of noise, a list of different types of noise that I've put together. And then anything that you can think of, like maybe that something resonates with you, maybe the noise you've had in your life, wherever you feel fit to kind of jump in. Okay. I'd love you to jump in. Sure. And everybody, why is this so important to me? Is because if you're not really happy at this time, or you don't feel like you're as successful as you want to be, you're sad, you might be angry, you might be feeling like jealous, of what other people are doing. A lot of it could be because of this exact thing, is that, there's too much coming in at you, the inner critic stuff, Jeff, that you just mentioned, and stuff from the outside. And it's one of the top things, Jeff, and everybody here, that I prescribe when someone is feeling that overwhelm, feeling sort of like in crisis. The first thing I tell them to do, Jeff, is that we need to shut it down. We've got to reduce the freaking noise, right? I always talk about this on Periscope.
Sure. Right.
So I think that this topic is totally going to resonate with so many of you. So I just want to get a couple more comments in, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling. So Steve Glassford is here. I just want to let you know that he's here to support us. We've got Bill Roy here who's saying hello. We've got Darlene Hollis here. Awesome, awesome. And so some comments are coming in that Beth is saying, I overwhelm myself. I think we all do, Beth.
Right.
And and Kim is saying amen to some of the comments that we're talking about. And Robert says, I have overwhelmed myself, but not so much now. And Kim says his name is Jefferoni. All right, so I don't call you Jeff. Jefferoni. We need to call you during that. Yeah. I love it. And she says, I'm only kidding. And so Susan says, I totally overwhelm myself, and much of the noise is my own mind, which is exactly what you said. Let's see. And oh, how awesome. So that's going to be one of our tips. But Kim says that you're actually a calming force for her, which is awesome.
Well, that's good to hear.
And Deborah says, right, you can't keep up with expectations we put on ourselves. Eventually we get burnt out. Love it. And Lisa says, we are our own worst enemy at times. This topic definitely resonates with me. Shutting down was essential for me at times. Oh, and Kim wants to clarify. She says, no, I mean my noises, Jefferoni. Okay. You guys going to have to talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, I do have a tendency to get a little excited around here. And she's like, will you chill out, please?
Oh, all right. So let's get right to it, Jeff, is that, you know what, let me list the different types of noise that I think is part of all of our lives. And then let's kind of go through them. Okay. So all right. 4 different types of noise, everybody, that we're going to talk about. Can someone say 4 types of noise? And you may want to write these down as Jeff Baroni and I are talking about this, and maybe put some notes, now or maybe on the replay. So I think there's really 4 types of big noise in our lives. The first one we're going to talk about is social media noise. Okay. and it has to do with personal stuff. And if you're in business, social media noise can be really screaming at you as well. Jeff, we're going to talk about people noise, okay? Friends, family, coworkers. Then we're going to talk about the one, Jeff, that you already spoke about, inner critic noise, that internal chatter, okay? Which is going to resonate with you. You're deep in thought, Jeff. You're like,
yeah. No, I'm listening. Those are very good noises. Those are all very real noises.
And 4 is success noise. What is the definition of success? And are you truly successful? And are you doing enough? So social media noise, people noise, inner critic noise, and success noise. So the first thing that I want you all to ask yourself is that, do you have too much social media noise? And before you jump in, Jeff, is that just some of the things for all of us to percolate, okay? Is that, remember the days when we just had a pager? Is that no one really could get in touch with us, you know what I mean, after work? Is that we weren't glued to our phones? Is that we actually talked to one another? We actually, had to get on the phone and talk with one another, right? And so social media noise can be a couple different things. It can be just the constant dinging, distracting from you doing, distracting yourself from doing things that you really need to do. Social media noise can also be conflicting information, right? You're on Periscope, Jeff, and that you might be listening to me, and then you're listening to someone else that might be giving you different information, and then you got another person. So your mind is filled with stuff, and you don't know what to quite do with it, right? And you know what? A lot of times with people who are in business, how many of you are in business and you go, oh my gosh, look at that girl, or look at that guy, look at that leader. You know what? Look at how much he's doing or she's doing. I'm not doing enough. You know what? I'm not measuring up. Right. I need to do a lot more. Does that resonate with you, Jeff, about the social media noise?
Comparison.
Okay, so talk to me about social media noise. Have you ever experienced social media noise?
Yes, absolutely. I can just tell you from Kim and I's personal life, the social media thing has actually caused some problems for us, because I'll be on my phone and not spending time with Kim. And, she was very upfront with me about it, and finally had enough of it, and she told me. And I'm like, wow, you're right. She's absolutely right. So, yeah, it can be a problem, especially if you're not on the same page necessarily with enjoying the same kind of things. It can be a divisive thing that it can cause in a marriage.
I totally relate to that, Jeff and Kim, because of the fact of, I'm out there, right? And I'm very social, and I love social media. And I know that I've talked about this, everybody, on, Periscope and other forums before, is that my husband's a kind of behind the scenes guy. He's, I wouldn't say he's an introvert, but he's just not on social media. It's not his thing. And so when I started Periscope a couple years ago, he was like, what is this? And why are you talking to strangers? He was like, you're not getting on the phone with them, right? And I think we all had that in the beginning, like, what is this, right? Yeah. Until he really got to understand what social media is. But I agree with you, Jeff, is that honestly, it really took my husband sort of just to look me eye to eye, because especially being in business, is that, you know what? That dinging, that social media stuff is 24 hours a day. Our friends, our social media family is on 24 hours a day. Yeah. But we've also got to remember our own family, our own kids, the priorities that are right here versus, and I don't have my phone with me, but yeah, here it is right here, is that versus here. Yes. What is the priority, right, Jeff?
That's right. That's right. And that's one of the things, Kim really, she brought that to light, and she's 100% right on the money with it, because our priorities really, truly are our real family, our real family, our in-person family, husbands, wives, kids, poodles, Poodles aren't too jealous, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So and Greg wanted to say hello. Greg Harvey is here. Hey, Greg.
There you go. Right on.
Thanks for coming in. So, the first thing that I really ask you all is social media, for the most part helping you? Is, social media affecting negatively, your life, how you're feeling about yourself, or really taking away from what your true priorities are? Hi, Pamela Sue. Thank you so much for coming in. Is that, we've got lots of people here on this broadcast. What are your true priorities? That's something for you to really think about. And sometimes it takes a little kick in the duff from a spouse, from a loved one going, I understand that you like this stuff, but, hello, you know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe we
That's
need
right.
to be a little more present here, right?
Right, 100%.
So let's talk about some things after I get some comments here about what we can do about social media noise if you're addicted. If you cannot get the phone out of your hand and you can't stop looking at it. And social media noise is also, I consider that emails popping up, other things, too many tabs on your computer and that sort of thing. So so Greg says that social media has totally ruined my life in the best way possible. And I think that, you know what?
Yeah.
For the most part, social media has added so much to our lives.
100%. This, one of the things that I always fall back to is I'm so thankful for the creators of Periscope, because if you think about what we have all derived out of just the app Periscope, the relationships that we've been able to develop and the friendships we've been able to develop, it's amazing. It's actually opened up an entire new world of friendships and good, healthy friendships.
Right. And so absolutely, we're not saying social media is bad. Obviously, this is where, my business is 100% of the time basically is on social media. But as I always say, sometimes we need to check ourselves and take inventory. Mm-hmm. So the purpose of this broadcast is, are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Is social media one of the things that you need to take a look at and say, you know what, I need to maybe do a little bit less of. Maybe I need to take a break on the weekends. Maybe I need to reduce notifications, and I'll go through these tips in a second. But I love these comments. And Bert, hey there, Bert. He's coming to say hello. Hi, Bert. And Shelly Harris is here. Thank you so much for coming in. Lisa says a great comment about the whole thing with the phones is that any of you that have kids or grandkids, right? You're probably telling them, put down the phone, shut down the TV. We're having dinner while you're plastered to the phone. It says, we are an example for the little people watching us plastered to our phones, which is so true. And then Pamela says, social media was helping me and then it did some damage, but turning that pain around to share the word of God and not on myself. Love that, Pamela. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. And you know what, Deborah Ann, great comment about discipline. We just have to come up with a habit. We've got to come up with some things which we're going to talk about to shut it down. Love it. Let's see what else. As with anything, we need to find our balance, or what I like to say, Deborah Ann, is harmony. Because we're never going to have complete balance of anything, right? Sometimes work, ends up being a little bit more than family. And then sometimes, right, with things that happen with family, it goes way up. So you got to have what's harmonious for you, right, Jeff? It's different than for me.
That's right. Yeah, and you're right. It is kind of a teeter-totter effect. When you're certain people, I guess like myself and like you too, Cynthia, I think a lot of us that are watching, when you do something, you put yourself wholeheartedly into it. And let's face it, it is what it is. It takes time. When you do something wholeheartedly, it does require time to do that. And then that's when the teeter-totter starts to tilt. And then, you realize that, wow, geez, I'm starting to get a little out of whack here. And then you got to kind of go back the other way. And that other one maybe suffers, you could say, a little bit.
Right. Absolutely. Great comments, Jeff. So a couple tips, and if you have any that maybe you have used or you and Kim have used, something a little bit different or something that really resonates with you, because I want to keep this broadcast going because we've got 3 other types of noise to go through, is that number one, maybe you need to stop the notifications on at least one or more of the platforms. So, for example, you can have notifications on every time your friends are coming on Periscope. I'm going to be honest with you, is that I love to support a lot of people on Periscope, but I've got to either silence my phone, okay, which is a beautiful thing if you don't want to stop the notifications, but you want to silence it at least during certain times of the day, during dinner, when you're spending time with Kim, right, Jeff? Or, you know, a family event, is that you don't want that constant dinging, right? And, you know, so that's one way. Social media noise, you know, reduce the notifications, reduce the amount of time you're on social media. Is that, do you do anything, Jeff? Is there a certain point that you kind of shut down, or what are some of the things that you do to kind of, you know, help with not being always on?
Yeah. Well, you're right about the notifications. I don't have notifications on most of the time at all. And in the evening when Kim gets home from work, I like to put my phone on silence so that if there is a notification of some kind, it's not annoying her while we're sitting there watching TV. It'll just kind of buzz, and I'll glance over maybe with my side eye and see if it's anything important, you know. And then that's basically, yeah.
You notice that, Kim, when he's doing the side eye?
She's like, dang it, she's watching. Shoot. Okay. Gotta try something new.
So, you know, shutting down the notifications, you know, silencing your phone, especially during the times that, you know, you need to be working, you need to be making money, right? For those of you that are in business, I'm telling you, this is going to help you, because you may think that you can multitask, but every time that ding comes, right, you're taking your focus off something that's probably more important. And then you put it on, even if it's for 5 seconds, and go, oh, you know what, I'm not going to jump in there, or I'm just going to jump in 5 minutes. Is that if you really gauge how much time that you're actually on social media, it would be absolutely astonishing to you if I actually sat down and watched, right, Jeff? And
Yeah.
Most people tell me, I didn't have time to get this particular goal done. I didn't have time to get this particular goal done. Is that, did you really not have the time, or did you really focus your time on things that were more fun?
That's right.
And maybe not focusing time on what's critical to get done, right, Jeff?
That's right. Priorities.
Priorities. All right.
Yeah.
I know social media is fun, everybody, but you do have to shut it down in order for you to get your stuff done first. That's really what my main tip about this is that, you know, you guys all know that I love social media. I'm all over the place, but I make sure I do my money-making activities, the things I need to do first, and then I use social media as like a reward. I go check the replays, then I check live broadcasts, that sort of thing. So at least get some wins done for the day. You know, don't just fill your day with social media and then go, wow, I didn't even do anything that I was supposed to do. I want to say a comment from Bert, who says, seeing you guys, and I got to put this up on the screen, seeing you guys gives inspiration and encouragement on social media, and the way it's spreading all through Facebook and Periscope is proof how we can change the atmosphere from negative to positive on social media. That's awesome.
Very cool.
And what this shows with Jeff and I here today is that the power of developing authentic relationships on social media as well.
Right.
Right, Jeff?
That's right. Absolutely right. Yeah. No, it's incredible. It's absolutely, you know, when I was a little kid, we had CB radios, and at 7 years old, I was on a CB radio talking to people all over the United States. And this is, in effect, it's the modern day version of that same type of thing, where people want to connect and communicate with each other. We have that innate desire to connect with each other.
Love that, Jeff. A couple more comments that are coming in, not just a couple. There are so many comments. You're going to have to go on Facebook afterwards, Jeff. But, you know, Kim said that it's been so much better shutting it down for us as far as social media in the evening. And I agree, Kim, is that my life has become so much better and more calm and, you know, better, just all around better by, you know what, having that harmony and saying, okay, when is enough enough? It's time to shut it down and do something else. Pamela says, I turn all notifications off. If it's something that I need to see, I will see. If not, then that's okay.
Right.
Beth says, Yes, I think I spend more time on social media than I think. I think we all do, Beth. Absolutely. And Christine Moore wants to say hello. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Christine.
Oh my gosh. And yep, that's so funny. And Mr. Godfrey, I think it's Mr. Godfrey. I can't pronounce your first name. I apologize. I only have one notification, Cynthia Bazin, and I'm watching you from Uganda. And I was
Wow.
already in bed and it's 12 o'clock midnight.
Wow. What a compliment.
Wow. Well, it's a compliment, but I'm going to give you permission to shut it down. You can watch the replay. And I'm actually telling somebody to go. Go.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Lillian, thank you so much for being here, who stopped in. We've got Randy Smith. Hey, Randy, saying hello.
Hey, right
All right.
on.
Awesome, awesome. All right. We've got so many great people here. All right. Next type of noise. So we just went through social media noise. Let's get rocking and rolling. We've already been on here a half an hour, Jeff.
Wow.
Told you it was going to go fast.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's whip through these. And Ken Loring saying hello. People noise. You know, what is noise? Noise is when it's distracting you from your goals, distracting you from positivity, distracting you on really what you need to be focused on. That's what noise means. So people noise. It can be people right in your own home. It can be people that are your relatives. It can be people that were your friends and are they really your friends? They can be people at work. And what is people noise? I'm going to throw some things out there, Jeff, and then I want you to jump in. People noise having to do with family, friends, coworkers. It could be someone's opinions. Someone that always has an opinion that, you know what, that you're doing things wrong. And you know what, you need to do it this way, Jeff. You know what, why are you doing that? You should do it this way. People noise can be toxic, negative talk. Just someone that, you know what, it can be the most beautiful day out there, like it's gorgeous out here in California, and there's something wrong.
Right.
That can be people noise. It can be people that, you know what, just have strong judgments on you, and it can be outward, you know, like really like in your face, or it can be kind of the rolling of the eyes, you know, just really not being supportive, and you know that they're not being supportive. So have you had people noise in your life, Jeff? And anything that you want to share, it can be general or it can be specific. Have you had that in your life?
Yeah, absolutely, Cynthia. I probably have a PhD in people noise. I've without going into who and what, I have a relative, I'll just say, that as long as I've known them, they've been people noise. And people noise to me is whenever you talk to them, not maybe intentionally, but however it seems to happen, there always seems to be a missile that flies and just hits. So
what do you mean a missile? Like how it affects you?
Yes, like a negative comment. A negative comment. Specifically or directly aimed at. And it's very interesting. It's actually very recent that it was like I was taking a walk, and it was one of my awesome walks in the morning, and I felt the Lord just saying to me, what if when you get off the phone with that person that you don't repeat what they said to Kim Maroney, like, oh, da 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 da, can you believe that? And then da 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 da. And I'm firing myself up by doing that, because when we speak words, it gives words have power. And when I reenact the conversation to Kim, I'm giving that power over me. I'm actually maybe even making it bigger than it was by getting emotionally involved and getting ticked off.
And let's talk about it for a second. Use that, you know what, you get so emotional, right? And we all do this, right? I always say they tweak us, right? Can someone say tweak? They just know how to, no matter what they say, they might not even say anything, Jeff. Just them breathing gets us pissed off.
Yep. So what I have kind of thought, and here's the other half of that is I'll say to Kim, what, looking for her to support me in this, my rant, and she doesn't. She's smart. She's very neutral, and she won't tie into it. And it's like then all of a sudden, well, I'm kind of irritated with her now, because she's not jumping in my boat. So the conclusion I finally came to, and I heard this little voice, what if the next time this person says something to you, you just don't say anything to anybody. You just don't worry about it and move on with your life. And because all of a sudden, I was going to say, all of a sudden, I've had 2 or 3 conversations with this person, and they've said a few things, and I haven't repeated them. I just let it go. And I find that I'm not as so much in bondage to this person.
Yeah, the power of words, which you said to summarize, it's amazing, right? Is that, so now the power of words is affecting you. And now when you're repeating it, you're putting that negativity, you're putting that stress or whatever on another person, right? So, and what I was going to add to it is that I guarantee, Jeff, their words or their opinions, whatever they had to say was not true.
Yeah.
Right? Is that, what they were just trying to tweak you, right? Just trying to get off your, your focus. And the bottom line is one of the things that I always like to say is that look at the people that really do that to you, that get you all stirred up, that have strong opinions, that are saying negative things. Do they have perfect lives or do they have problems? Do they have stuff that they're not dealing with?
That's right. And a lot of times people speak from their perspective too, and from their history, and from who they are, and it has really nothing to do with us.
And so it's one of those things is that, are you going to give words power? That's a great thing. I love that. But what are some real life tips? So Jeff gave one, right? Is that, when someone says something to you that really bothers you, what are you going to do with it? You're going to let it fester? And so there's a fine balance, Jeff, because we have different personalities, different types of people in here, right? So it's important that, if you're somebody that internalizes stuff a lot, right? So I want to just say the flip side on this.
Yes.
Is that if you don't say anything and something bothers you and you don't have an outlet, that can be, really detrimental to you because of the fact of if you internalize stuff, and I know a lot of people that do that, and then what do? They blow up when something happens to either their spouse, their kids, or maybe the person that's coming at them. So I do believe you need some sort of outlet, which we can talk about as far as the tips goes for people noise. But I do agree is that if it really has, no importance to your life, if it's something that's not life-changing, it's not something that you did wrong, is that really, do you want to give those words power? And do you want to continue this negative cloud?
That's right.
And take seconds out of the day, which you could be having fun, watching a movie, eating popcorn, playing with your dogs, doing everything else. But no, you put power into whoever this is, right?
That's right.
Craziness. Yeah, so Beth, they usually have their own problems, right? So I want you all to think about that when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? A lot of times, absolutely not. It's them projecting on you something that they're unhappy with. Could someone say yes inside the chat stream if that resonates with you? Let's see. Yeah, and Susan, thank you so much for your comments. So tips, everybody, having to do with people noise. If you've got people that are negative, toxic, there's so many tips that I can give. But, the social media thing is people noise too. Is that, if there are people that, are not your friends, if there's people that, they've done something to you and you feel this guilt trip of, not being friends with them on social media, I'm just going to encourage you is that try to do a shift. And you will feel lighter. You will feel better if you remove those people from social media. So I know we all have at least one person on our social media platforms that you have had and you've removed, or you have somebody right now and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, what if I remove this person? I recommend that you do it. Is that boundaries? Have you ever had to set good boundaries with people, Jeff, for the people noise?
Boy. That's always kind of been a tough one for me because I'm by nature a people pleaser. So setting boundaries is something that is so important. It really truly is. I think as I've gotten older, it's gotten a little easier for me, and I don't have any problems at work setting boundaries with coworkers at all, I guess. So I think those people that kind of do this to you, that's the ones that I have the problem for some reason setting the boundaries with.
And so it's one of these things. How many of you need to set better boundaries with people that are negative, that are toxic, that sort of thing? I'll make this really quick because, again, we can do another Be Live, Jeff, down the road. But you know what? As far as boundaries go, some of the things that I suggest is, if there's somebody on the phone that keeps you on the phone that is just negative and is like, gosh, when is this person going to stop talking, right? Is that, if they are consistently negative, whether it's somebody in person or on the phone, limit the time. There was somebody in my family, I've said this out on social media before, that their nature is negative. And so I give them 5 minutes and then I say directly to that person, you know what? I'm done. Let's talk about something more positive. Tell me about this. I just stop it and shift it.
Yeah.
So for some of you, that might work. For someone that's just constantly like complaining, you have to take control of your time and say, how long are you going to stick with this negativity? Stop it, shift it. Okay. For people that, oh my gosh, I have to go to this person's house. They're in my family, but they make me feel uncomfortable. Again, if you're with your spouse or with your friends or something like that, have a time. Hey, listen, I'm going to go, but let's stay for a half an hour. We give the old sign and see you later, right?
There you go.
You don't have to, just pain yourself and just let them take control of you. You're not a doormat. You can set time limits that you're with people. And the bottom line is that if someone's, treating you badly, there's a way that you can tell them, that, I really don't want to be part of this drama. Noise can be drama, conversations at work. Jeff, I know you work with the car industry, is that you have to set those boundaries and say, when you hear this chatter and people talking about this stuff, it's not being rude. It's just saying, you know what? I don't know, firsthand knowledge about this stuff. I really don't want to be part of this drama or get sucked into it. So, you know what, thanks, but no thanks, right? So we have to, again, control the noise. And there is a lot of things we can do. We may not be able to eliminate it, Jeff, but there's certain things we can do, just like the social media noise, to control it, to limit it. Make sense?
Right. At work, for example, you have salesmen that stand around all day long with no customers, so I guess they start chewing on each other, basically. And I don't even hang out with any of them, half of them. Most of the time, I got 1 or 2 people that I can hang with because I know they're not negative. I just don't allow it. I don't allow it in my ears. I won't listen to negativity throughout the day. I won't allow it to happen.
Good. And again, I talk a lot about your inner circle and relationships and stuff like that. And hey, Caleb, thank you so much. I'm going to put up some comments in a second because we're getting so many comments. Is that, don't be afraid to shrink your inner circle. And so a lot of people, you think that, if you've got a big network of people, that's like the greatest thing. It's nice to have a lot of acquaintances, but people always are surprised, Jeff, that, my inner circle, people that like I really, really consider trustworthy, people that I can rely on, people that I really tell my dreams and goals to, things that I share, negative things that happen with, it's really tight. Because, I always say this is that, the people that you really can rely on are really the people, if you really thought about it, if you had something bad happen or something that you really needed at 2:00 in the morning, those people that you have in your phone contacts, those people that you consider friends, who would pick up the phone? Who would return the call, right?
That's right. On one hand.
Yes, right? So, tighter inner circle, quality inner circle. So don't be afraid. Sometimes relationships have its time, meaning this. I'm not saying to get rid of people, but I've had friends that I had like in past workplaces, people that have been in school. You know what? We're still connected with, but I don't go out with them anymore. It's just sort of like, you know what? We're kind of just grown up, grown apart, doing different things. We don't hate each other. We don't like each other, but it doesn't need to be forced. Sometimes we just got to say, you know what? That relationship, that friendship had its time, but you're not, going to be in my tight inner circle, anymore. You have to make
necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want to say a couple different things. So Lisa had to jump out. She wanted to say she loved the topic and is going to catch the replay. And Kim, I appreciate that. She says that we're a good team on this. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
You having fun, Jeff?
I'm having an absolute blast. I'm amazed there's no poodle on my shoulder, though. This is incredible.
Oh, I love it. And so, Caleb, I want to say thank you so much for coming in. Caleb Bush says hello, Cynthia and Jeff. Let's see. I turned my Facebook as family and a few friends, started a group to get God's word out. Awesome. Let's see. Lots of comments in the conversation about reducing the noise. Ken Loring said about there's a social media reduce the noise button. It's called blocking. That's so funny. Let's see. We have done time limits to be around certain people, says Kim. Love it, love it, love it. Yep.
I like that.
Yay, Caleb says, yay, I got a shout out. I love it. I love it. Great comments. Love it. And Ralph Hernandez. Hello, Ralph. Thank you so much for coming in. And Patricia is saying that she's enjoying this awesome chat. Wonderful. All right. Inner critic. Talk to me, Jeff, about how your inner critic can be noise. Oh, no. Jeff just popped himself out. Hopefully Jeff comes back in. Kim, help him. So everybody, I'm Cynthia Bazin from Smart Chick Laser Focus Mentoring. Our guest today is Jeff Karlin. Hopefully his phone didn't lose its charge. Hopefully he'll be back in a few seconds here. So I want to thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, I think he's coming back. And so thank you so much for coming in for this great topic. And I was just saying, Jeff, that I hope your phone didn't lose charge. So
no, it didn't lose charge. Am I centered all right here?
Yeah, just sitting up or bringing the camera just a little bit down, just a little bit. Good. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
All right. So inner critic, talk to me, Jeff. We've gone through social media noise, people noise, inner critic. What is inner critic?
That is your self-talk, and that's probably the biggest monster in the world. Recognizing it, I think, is probably the first step to helping that. But it's true. The battlefield is in the mind, and it's a choice too. This is something that I have started to get a little bit of a handle on, and it's a choice of what we want to think about. The inner critic will chatter in your ear. We're going through Crash the Chatterbox with Greg. We all have that chatterbox and that inner critic in us, and you can choose if you want to listen to it or not, because the truth that I always go back to is, who does God say I am, and who do I really know who I am? It doesn't coincide with my inner critic. They're constantly at each other, I guess you might say. And so I have the ability to recognize when it's the inner critic speaking. I can spot it. It's not very sneaky with me. I see it a mile away. And then I change my thought process. And the key for me is being thankful. That's how I can change that inner critic chatter. I start recognizing, hey, what is it I'm thankful for? I'm thankful for my wife, my house, my kids, my job, my friends. I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head, a warm bed to go to. Our brains can only think of one thing at a time. We don't really have the ability to think of two things or three things all at one time.
Right.
Women are better at it than men, but men for sure are no good at it.
Right.
I can really only focus truly on one thing. So when I hear that inner critic going, I change that thought process and I start becoming thankful, and I start speaking out what it is I'm thankful for, and that changes it.
Mm-hmm. And you know, one of the things I wanted to say, because some people are thinking right now, yeah, you know what, that inner critic is a monster. That's what Susan White said. And I want to show that up. And you know what? This is something, everybody, that, you know what, you may need to check yourself on a daily basis, or sometimes on a moment to moment basis. Is that you might be good 1 hour, and then all of a sudden some ideas, some things start swirling in your head. And so sometimes you need to check yourself with every single thing that comes in at you. I know a lot of people that, you know what, they were good, and then 1 hour later they're in a tailspin because they think that they didn't do good enough, or they're not enough. And where does that come from? You know, Jeff didn't touch on that. I just want to, you know, because this is deep, everybody. This sometimes goes way, way back. You know, most of us that are here, I don't think we're a lot of teenagers in the room. A lot of us are, you know, 40 and above. This may have started as early, you know, in kindergarten, you know, or earlier, right? So it goes way back. You know, it's sometimes programming. Sometimes, you know what, you were bullied as a kid. You know, things that maybe your parents did. I mean, listen, you know, they maybe have done what they could, you know, but, you know, those things affect us, you know, from childhood all the way up to adulthood. So to shut down that inner critic, I'm never going to say that, you know what, it's an easy one, because I know that, you know what, it's a work in progress for me. It's more of like a perfectionist thing, wanting to do the things right. And when I make mistakes, you know what I mean? Nobody else knows about them, but I do. And it's like, you need to let it go. But that comes from past stuff, which we don't have enough time to talk about that particular thing. Yeah. And Caleb says, I'm not a teenager, but 29 years old. Okay. You're a young grasshopper, Caleb. You're a grasshopper. So the thing is this, please be gentle with yourself. If you've got this really bad inner critic, you're always kicking yourself in the duff, you're saying that you're not good enough. Ralph says it comes from our upbringing. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's right.
Is that you got to realize that this might be a daily battle. And what was it? Caleb said something like, let me just see what his comment said. It was really, really good. Hey, Ken, Dan Goodwin, thank you so much for coming in. Self-critic is a liar. Yes, Caleb, I love that comment. And you need to say that to yourself, everybody. When that starts creeping in, one of the tips that I always say is just to stop. And sometimes it is to tell yourself, stop. You know what? That thought of yours is a liar, right? That self-criticism is a liar. It's not true. You know, that goes back to when I was 10 years old. You know what I mean? That's not factual. You know, like, so sometimes you need to kick yourself in the duff emotionally and say to yourself, why am I thinking this? This is not factual. This is emotional, right? And so sometimes you need to do that. Did you have something to add, Jeff?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So I love, Jeff, your comments that you gave about the inner critic. But one of the things that helps me is that when I've got that perfectionist streak, that, you know what I'm saying, and I got to get some new comments up here. Just bear with me. I think I'm doing a good job with the comments, guys.
You're doing a great job.
But trying to do everything at once is that Susan says I need to fight this daily. Is that number one, tell yourself, stop. This self-criticism is a liar. Number two is that, you know what? I want you to say, guess what? No one else is perfect. Nobody is perfect. Why am I trying to be perfect? We see it every single day, Jeff. No one's perfect. We all have our flaws, but for some reason, we put
hold ourselves to some godly standard, I guess. I don't understand it. You're right.
Why is it, right? Stop in the name of love yourself, says Deborah. Is that, we all say it. Don't try to be perfect. No one's perfect, but we still are standing in with these four walls trying to be perfect and trying to be the perfect husband, the perfect wife, the perfect business owner, the perfect social media guru, right? So the thing is this, is that no one's perfect. We realize that you're going to make mistakes, right? It's one of those things. And then the other thing is really about that inner circle. If you have a tough inner critic, who do you have as a cheerleader in your life? You might not have the best cheerleader as a spouse. I know some people that, you know what, they love their spouse, but you know what, they're very negative, and you know what, they're not their best cheerleader supporter. So sometimes your best cheerleaders, sometimes your best people to help you with that inner critic, sometimes telling you stuff you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. And then sometimes someone saying, you know what, be gentle with yourself.
Right. That's right.
You know, so who is that cheerleader in your life? If you don't have that cheerleader, you know what, we need to work on that, right? Who's in your corner, says Deborah Ann. And Caleb says, no one's perfect at all. Thank you, Caleb, who's saying that this is so good. Glad I got on. All right. Success noise. You know what? We're going to try to complete this broadcast within the hour.
Add one quick thing,
Sure.
Cynthia. Getting back to...
One second, Jeff. Can I just do something really quickly?
Yes.
I should have done this a long time ago. My friends, if you really are getting something out of this and you see some friends and family that are overwhelmed, they have a lot of noise, that they need to really improve their life by creating boundaries, shutting some people out, shutting some things out, I would love for you to consider to share this out. You know, Jeff and I are really passionate about this. And again, I appreciate Jeff Karlin, who's my guest coming in today. If this could help somebody today, is that I would appreciate you sharing out. We would really, really be honored if you did that. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, one of the things I think we should think about, Cynthia, is we should give ourselves as much grace as we give other people. Do you know
Amen.
what I mean? I mean, we are so forgiving and we really are gracious to other people, but for some reason we exclude ourselves. And I think the thing that you're really hitting home on is we need to give ourselves as much grace as we give others.
That's a great point. And, you know, one of the reasons why I do the wins of the day broadcast on Periscope in the afternoon is because of this whole inner critic thing, is that I try, and I've been doing this broadcast over the last 2 years, and people still struggle with this. Give yourself some grace, and you know what? Dig deep and, you know what? Appreciate what you do have and celebrate the things that you are doing, and you are doing enough. You are progressing. As long as you're putting one foot forward, you've made progress.
That's right. And
the bottom line is we all have missteps. We're all going to step back. We're all going to fall down. But the key is obviously to getting back up and just putting one foot in front of the other. So it's not a smooth journey. Jeff, has your journey been smooth?
No. No.
Mine hasn't. Mine hasn't at all, you know? So yeah, be Christ-like. Forgive yourself. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Success noise, our last point for today, everybody. And we're going to summarize this up. Appreciate you all being here. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for all the comments. I guarantee everybody is that sometime today, you know, before this evening or by tomorrow morning, I'm going to at least comment back to at least one of your comments. So just to let you know how much we appreciate you putting those comments in. Success noise. How many of you have had some sort of definition programmed into you, either from your parents or just social media, leaders, books that you've read that, you know, have defined what success is supposed to be like? Jeff, I know we've talked a lot about this on Marco Polo. We've talked about this just back and forth. Is that, dang, sometimes we waste a lot of time trying to be this successful person, and it's not even our own definition of what is actually going to bring us happiness. Have you ever been in a job? Have you ever done things that you were going for success, and it was like afterwards you've said, what am I doing?
Oh, 100%, Cynthia. That's a big one probably for me.
Take your time.
This one hits home for me, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
For most of my career, success was, you know, obtaining income. Well, you know, I went ahead and I fell for that lie. You know, I really did, and it's a lie now that I'm older and I know better. and I went through it. But, for a period of time, I lost my family. I lost my entire family over it because I devoted too much of my life to becoming successful. What was painted for me successful. And on the other side, I was encouraged by my bosses, who I didn't realize were manipulating me because I was generating income for them. And boy, they were fantastic cheerleaders. And I mean, I got so much encouragement and I felt so good. And man, I mean, I was on top of the world. But then I kind of forgot about, my family.
So easy to do.
And how much time that I didn't spend with them. So, yeah, it's a big lie. This chasing that dollar thing it's a lie is what it is. I've learned now, really, I've got a different perspective entirely of what happiness is. And it's not getting rich.
Mm-hmm. What was the turning point, Jeff? And, I had a turning point because exactly that is that in my career for a long time, it was about, getting that next title, getting that next promotion. And it wasn't, me going, the power or hungry thing. It was the people around me saying, you are doing so awesome. And we want you to get to this next level. And they were sending me to training and they're saying, you're going to do this. And people were surrounding me, those cheerleaders, and more and more and more and higher income and higher titles. And you think at the time that, it's just like, yeah, this is what life is all about until things around you lose some loved ones. You know what I mean? I don't know what the case was, but what was the turning point for you that said, things got to change?
Yeah, you know what? It's a big lie. I think probably the turning point for me is when I realized that I had gained all of that, but then I lost the very thing that was most important to me. That's when I realized that, wait a minute, I've been manipulated.
Exactly. And so the learning lesson, everybody, and I appreciate you being so authentic, Jeff, about this, is that, for those of you that have not lost something, but could lose something as a result of your behavior, that, your priorities, like I have said, we think we've got the right priorities, social media, grinding in our business 24 hours a day, is that are your priorities actually upside down? Do you want to be in a scenario that, you lose something, you lose someone, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, you get the hit over the head and go, I need to change my life.
That's
so, what is it that, are your priorities? Are you sitting on your duff all the time and your health is crap, basically. And you need to put that on the top of the list, your self-care. Emotional self-care, physical health, self-care. Do you need to put your family as top priority? Do you need to start investing in yourself? I mean, the bottom line, none of us are going to be around here forever, Jeff. And it's just a good thought for us to really look to the end and say, if my life ended today, or if I knew that this weekend was going to be the end of my life, are you going to say, wow, I'm so glad that I went for it and focused in on my priorities and what's important to me? Or are you going to say, wow, I'm glad that I focused on everybody else's happiness and, appeasing everybody else and not doing what makes me happy, right?
Right. That's right. That's right. I always think of this one scenario if we're on our deathbed, what is it we're going to want around us? Are we going to want all the money that we earned around us, or are we going to want the people that we love around us? Which one are we not going to give a crap about?
Yeah, the 10X thing can be a big vex sometimes. The bottom line is shut out the noise, Ken, right? And there's so many comments about how this is an important topic for men about success. It's really important for women too, because now women, it's a big, big topic for them. But Susan White, wow, what a great, great comment, meaning that the world doesn't seem to celebrate success in domestic life, which is my top priority. I feel like people think I'm less since I left the theater. That's a perfect example, Susan. of you needing those cheerleaders.
That's right.
People to say that, you know what? Being at home, taking care of family is the toughest job in the world, and you're doing an amazing job.
Yep.
You need people around you that are supporting you in that. And you know what? Those people that do not celebrate those successes, you've got to make a decision on. And so, gosh, you know, the whole thing about success, everybody, and I may want to do this as a whole separate Be Live, because you've taken so much time out of your day for this important topic. I mean, this is training, honestly, everybody, that you could pay for in a workshop or in a conference. So it's definitely worth it. But you know what? Listen, I want you to really take inventory about what does the definition of success look like for you. And you know what? Is it upside down? Is there something that you need to shift? Are you being affected by, you know what, leaders that, you know what, yeah, it's good for them, but why am I doing that? That doesn't fit into my life, and I'm not even happy with what I'm doing. Caleb says, yes, my cousin passed away last Tuesday and has his funeral on Monday, and we need to encourage one another that we should celebrate each other in family. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the success noise, everybody, is that I want you to really take to heart what Jeff, you know, said so passionately about him losing something, to really understand what the priorities are. Don't make it be an event. Don't let it be something major that all of a sudden shakes you into reality, into what's truly the priorities. Can someone say deal inside the chat stream if you're going to do that? I really want you to take inventory on what success and happiness means to you. Get quiet. Don't let anybody affect you with that definition, and really take inventory on whether you need to shift some things, okay? So, everybody, the 4 types of noise that Jeff Karlin and I talked about today was social media noise, people noise, inner critic noise, and success noise. Why we were so passionate about talking about this topic today is that it affects the quality of our life.
Absolutely.
That years are flying by. It seemed like I was 25 years old just like a couple years ago, but it is flying by. And we don't want you to waste any more time dealing with the ridiculousness. Does that make sense, Jeff?
Yep, 100%, 100%. I'm probably a master at making all the mistakes. I'll tell you that. And I say that only to say that it's okay to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Just learn from them. That's all.
I love it. I love it. So what I want you all to do is that, you know what, I'm going to give some quick summary points. Does that sound good, Jeff? And I'm going to look at these summary points too. And this broadcast went really quickly. And yes, our lives are going by really quickly, Joshua, one of my best friends. Thanks for being here. Is that kind of a summary of things to think about, okay? Is that there is a lot of noise out there. Is that we discussed 4 types: social media, people noise, inner critic, and a success noise. What can you reduce in your life? There's at least one area, right? I want you to get a piece of paper right now, or maybe, you know, you check this on the replay. And thanks for sharing this out, everybody, for those of you that have done, is that we need to be intentional about reducing it. It's not a one-time thing. Is that either put it on the schedule for every day. I do it daily. I say to myself, you know what? How can I reduce the noise today? What am I going to do to eliminate distractions? If I know I'm going to talk to somebody, how am I going to create those boundaries? So every single day, everybody, we have to be intentional on it. Sometimes it's a daily task. Sometimes it's a moment-to-moment task. Right, Jeff?
That's right.
Life is too short to be trying to live like somebody else. Okay? I'm not Tony Robbins. Who's one of your favorite leaders, Jeff? Real quick.
I think probably Tom Hopkins.
Okay, all right, there you go. Guess what? You're no Tom Hopkins. You're right. Jefferoni. Right? Is that we've got to be who we are, right? So stop trying to copy somebody else and trying to be somebody else. Is that be you. All your quirks and everything, which we really didn't get a chance to talk about, Jeff, but you know what? Be your best you, okay? And you know what? Who cares what other people think?
Right. That's right.
We tell our kids that. We tell our young ones, right? Don't worry about what those other people think. Why are we so concerned about what other people think? Let's get our priorities straight. Get our inner circle tight, everybody. And you know what? If someone's not on board, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? If you know your values, you know your faith, you know who you are, and you know what? You're doing the right thing. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to love you. It's okay to let people go away, right? Those superheroes have real struggles like all of us, right? Absolutely. Take some time, Susan, and get quiet. That was her comment. I love it. And yeah, who are the people that are going to be there through you, through, you know, the thick and thin? And the bottom line is that for those of you that have that comparison noise that you do, is that remember, you know, being an original is much more exciting, right? Why are you trying to blend in, right? Is that some of the biggest, best leaders that we love, think of them, your favorite person in the world that you look up to. They're an original. They're quirky.
That's right. They march to their own tune.
So, Jeff Karlin, I want to say, oh my gosh, my great friend, this was a blast. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time, Cynthia, and I thank you so much. It was absolutely enjoyable, and I'm thrilled that we're surrounded by such next level people. It's really fantastic. The people that come in here, it's a blessing.
What are some final words having to do with this topic, if you have any? Just like, what did you get out of today, and what is like the main point that you'd love to get out there?
I think for me, the main point is don't follow that lie that success is a lot of money, because it's not. It's not a lot. It's a lie, and it doesn't make you happy. In fact, if you dedicate too much time to chasing it, it'll actually turn on you like a rabid dog and bite you.
Great point, everybody. Let's get our priorities straight. We may have our priorities straight, you know, like yesterday, but today something might have creeped in and we need to take inventory. Jeff, I hope we can do this again. It was a blast.
Me too. Thanks,
Jeff
Cynthia.
Karlin, Cynthia Bazin, everybody, if you would like to share this out, if you know somebody that needs to reduce the noise, we would love for you to do that. Is that this was done on Facebook, but I am going to be uploading it also to my YouTube channel, and it will be shared out all over social media. Is that I am honored, I am blessed to be having you all as part of my social media family. I consider you family. I know Jeff feels it too, is that I hope that this broadcast was of great value. And as I always say on other social media platforms, really apply this. Take one thing, one golden nugget. If everything else didn't resonate with you, dump it. But take one thing and apply it today. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, Cynthia. Bye-bye.
Fun.
I knew it would happen.
That's so funny. And you know what? We're still live at the second.
Hey, this is Bella.
Hold on. It's trying to end the broadcast. So, all right. Let's see. Hold on for a second. Maybe. I'm just going to click out, Jeff, because it's having a little bit of an issue clicking out. Thank you so much for being here and Poodles being here. Bye. I'm Marco Polo. Bye.